Welcome to the Penny Bloom Podcast. Ain't another place that has got more bombast. Romp past your mom, dad's listening to Tomcats. Talking everything that make you sad. We don't want that. We're here to make you smile. Put your mind at ease. Peace, love, and bloom, and always praise Keanu Reeves. This what we about. This some weeding now. We'll talk until we can't no more, and then we peacing out. Alright, let's go. Penny Bloom Podcast. It's the Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. It's the Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. Hello, everybody, and welcome in to the Penny Bloom Podcast. You are back for the journey through film, comic book movie edition. Today we continue with 1997's Batman and Robin, and I'm very excited to talk with some friends today. I am joined by Joseph George. What's up, homie?
Oh, what up, what up? Always a pleasure to be here.
Oh, and it is always a pleasure to have you. We are also joined by the magnificent Tavarus Pennington. What's up, homie?
How's it going? Glad to be here. Glad to be alive.
Oh, I'm glad you're alive as well, my friend. We are also joined by a very special guest, a longtime friend of the pod, friend through Twitter specifically. We are joined by Clare DeGennaro. How are you doing?
Great. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, of course. I'm so excited to have you, especially for today. You know, this is our, what is it? 6th Batman movie? 7th Batman movie?
Man, yeah, it's been dominated by Batman, that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, there was a stretch there where Batman was the only superhero that they were like, yeah, we could probably make a movie out of that.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
This is number 6 out of 12. So
6 out of 12.
It is half, yeah.
I think this was the one where they were also like, yeah, we probably need to stop making Batman movies for
It was like, imagine ruining a character, or not ruining a character, but doing something so bad that they're like, we're not going to use this character for almost a decade.
And
like that.
We'll wait till 2005. You know,
that's insane.
That's when we'll feel comfortable again.
But before we really dive into the movie, Claire, I wanted to get a little short bio from you. What drew you to Batman and Robin when I put out the open call? How long you been a listener of the podcast? How you doing? What's up?
Well, let's see. So for whatever reason, when I was a kid and watching all the Batman movies, this one was my favorite. And I had not seen it since I rewatched it now. And wow, what a trip to rewatch it now as an adult. But it was so different, I think. And I was watching Batman when the Christopher Nolan series was coming out. So this is like, I mean, you can't get more different in his movies to this. And so I think I just enjoyed it as a 12-year-old girl. And I have even more thoughts about it now as an adult. And I love your podcast. I've been listening for a while. I've definitely... When was I first? Maybe when you were doing the Moon Knight recaps, I started listening.
Yes.
Yeah, I was like, and then I went back and I listened to all of your recaps. So you're my go-to recap people. So I'm excited.
That's awesome. I love hearing that. Thank you so much and I'm so excited that you're joining us because you're our first listener to come on the pod. That's not here to promote anything, not here because you've been my friend for 15 years or whatever. You're a new friend, and I'm so excited about that. So thank you so much for joining us and to speak to your experience with this movie. This was also my favorite when I was a little dude. But I was like, when I was small, I loved Batman, and Batman and Robin was my go-to when I was a wee lad. And I think that Mr. Freeze kind of a big deal there for me. I love me some Arnold. Yeah.
He's having so much fun in this movie too.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Some ice.
No, it's insane. Like, who gave this man a costume? Like, give it back to him.
He's having the time of his life. Oh my god.
I can say that I am very jealous that I did not see this as a kid. This was my first time ever seeing this movie. Completely.
Wow.
Like, I knew that George Clooney was a Batman, but I'd never seen the movie. These are all my first watches up until Christian Bale, so I guess up until this point.
Yeah.
And wow, I wish I could have seen this as a kid because this would have been awesome as a kid. oh my God, like this was made specifically to keep children entertained at every single second of the movie, because at certain points I couldn't believe the choice they made, like the route they decided to go. I'm like, no way this is happening right now. I looked up the budget mid movie because I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe that this is a Hollywood put out
George,
theaters, and I'm like, what? And I just
like,
$125 million, and that's at that time. That's that money. So I mean, that who knows what that is now? I don't know, 200 million, 300 million, something.
This had that Thor: Love and Thunder budget.
God, man. But oh my
compare.
God, I wish I could have seen this as a kid, because this would have been awesome.
Go ahead, Tab. What were you saying?
Now I'd like to compare the other Batman movie budgets and see where they stack up. Maybe after we rate them.
Yeah. No, because I mean, like this. One thing that I do really like. I love the camp of this movie. I think that this steers further into camp than any Batman movie before it besides 66. And that's where this movie so thoroughly takes its inspiration from, I think, is the 60s version of Batman. I think George Clooney is basically doing his best Adam West impression while he's in there. In this role, I think, like the way he doesn't change his voice when he's Batman versus Bruce Wayne. They obviously modernized a lot of the themes. This is basically like if they didn't have to worry about being 1950s family friendly on TV with Adam West and Burt Ward as Wayne and Dick Grayson. But and this movie is
The interesting thing about that comparison that you're drawing to me is that in line with what Joseph was saying about how it's just naturally captivating, especially to a young mind. I relate to Claire that this was the one that I watched the most as a kid. Like I don't know why, I don't know what it was, but the one that I remember the second most is Batman 66.
Yep.
Why is that? These movies are horrible. I'm watching these again like.
As a kid, we don't know what bad is. We just consume, We just see what's on screen, and if it's flashy, if it's a guy in a suit doing some acrobatic, fighting a guy, some explosions, a Batmobile, Mr. Freeze, like, it doesn't matter. You hear Mr. Freeze say these one-liners. As a kid, you probably don't understand the joke, but it's supposed to be funny. So you're like, you're just like laughing, I don't know. It's like, I just wish I could be a kid again, because
everybody chill.
Oh, dude.
Chill.
Looking at the IMDb quotes right now, it is just Mr. Freeze.
Like, it's all the way down. This entire movie, all the dialogue is one-liners.
Yeah.
Like, that's
it really is, and that's what's crazy too, is that the story in this movie is the plot's so fucking thin. Like it is paper fucking thin. They're really just like,
seriously,
here's a bunch of really fun sequences, one after the other. When you kick this movie off with them in the Batcave doing the classic montage of getting ready, zooming on everyone's ass, zooming on their bat nipples.
Yeah.
There's comment from.
I just already got my favorite shot. Last movie was Val Kilmer's ass in Batsuit. So it's only fair. I think if there is an ass shot in Batsuit, I have to label it as my favorite shot, because they did it again. We got it twice, actually.
They did it twice.
Wait, you said 3 times?
We got it 3 times because we got Bruce Wayne in the Batsuit, we got Dick Grayson in the Nightwing suit, and we got Barbara.
Dick Grayson too?
Yeah. Okay,
I knew we got Batman and Batgirl. I did not remember Robin's.
No, they kept going back and forth between Batman and Nightwing at the very beginning. And I will not call him Robin because this is a grown fucking man.
Yeah,
that's Nightwing.
That's fair enough. I put the actor's name in there because I put Val Kilmer's ass in Batsuit just to know which Batman I'm talking about.
Right.
So
right.
I'll just keep the actors' names.
Perfect.
But wow, a triple ass shot. That is insane. I thought it was just a double.
So much butt. So much butt.
Wow.
But
that they like have him pull his pants up.
Yeah. Well, and they were also like watch him strap his belt in the front. Like they were like, yeah, check that shit out too. You know what I'm saying? Like
I was like, this is out of pocket now.
No, yeah. Well, and that's something that you don't. Oh, go ahead.
Gay people kissing.
Right.
No,
like I don't think I'd ever, when I was younger, I didn't think much of, the sexualness of this movie. That's kind of something we found with a lot of movies of this era, is that they're very overtly sexualized. And when I was younger, I didn't pick up on any of that. And, but now I'm like, wow, I was like 5 watching Uma Thurman be like, yeah, you wanna fucking kiss me, don't you?
Slippery
like
when
that.
wet. She had a slippery when wet line.
Yeah.
Yeah, and a kid that's just kind of like a SpongeBob thing, or like a thing that just goes right over a kid's head that you're never gonna think about. But like, it's kind of insane that was like, I don't know. It's very blunt, and like, I love how she kills people by kissing them. So the genius idea of rubber lips, genius. He rips them off inches away from her lip. Like, I mean, she's right there, and it's like rubber lips. Locks your venom, idiot. And then she could have literally just went, like, she could have barely moved her neck and killed him, like, right then and there. I don't know, it was just hilarious to me. But at that point of the movie, I'm not thinking that way anymore.
No.
I'm just like, I'm accepting whatever comes on screen. I don't care. Because, man, the third act, that's the thing of these superhero movies, man. I thought it was crazy the whole movie, and then they just somehow, in the third act, top it off with something even wilder. I don't know how they do it. You just gotta wow them at the end.
There's something you gotta love. I don't think we've really gotten this so far in our Batman movies. I think our Superman movies, like Lex Luthor, you can kind of see it, but nobody with like, I mean, Poison Ivy's pretty fucking powerful, but like, just their goal being like, let's take over the world. Let's conquer the world. Wipe it all out. We'll be Adam and evil.
Yeah.
There's something so charming about the fact that they're just, that's the goal. Like it's like after his wife dies, which, I mean, like, a classic Mr. Freeze origin story now is that he's trying to fix his or trying to cure his wife of her illness and stuff. Interestingly enough, that's not comics based. That's Batman the Animated Series based. So back to how Mask of Phantasm was kind of a groundwork for
the actual
everything.
Holy Scripture of Batman.
Yeah, exactly. So there are a lot of things taken from that in this adaptation. But after that, just being like, all right, well, my wife's dead. Oh, I guess I'll just freeze the earth.
Yep. Oh, well. Well, just was gonna start with, curing my wife, but now that she's gone, I guess you can be my partner in crime, and I'll just freeze the whole earth, kill everybody. We'll be the only 2 left. Fuck it. Yep.
Adam and Evil.
That's where my life's going now. I mean, I don't know. I'd rather have just pure evil, so I never have to guess intentions. It's like, it's nice just to know there's no convincing him otherwise, unless he knows that, like, she's alive, actually. Like, that's the only thing that will get him to come back. He's like, no, she's alive, and, like, she, somehow, well, whatever. But, man, no, I love, like, all the origin stories. Like, Poison Ivy's the secret lab in the back that created Bane. Whenever Bane was created. What was it? Yeah, Dr. Jason Woodrue.
Yeah.
Wow, that guy was a character.
That origin scene is perhaps one of the most memorable scenes in film of all time for me, for some reason.
It's so efficient, bro. Like, they get her origin across so efficiently. Like, you don't question it for a second.
No, and like, that's her part in this movie is actually one of my favorites because, I think it's a little outlandish, and Uma Thurman's really it's funny because, we've watched her most recently on this podcast for like Kill Bill and Kill Bill Volume 2. She is playing a vastly different character here. And, Pulp Fiction comes before this, Kill Bill comes after this. It's interesting to see where she was in between, because this is an out there performance. Bill, like, the way that she plays Beatrix Kiddo and the way she plays her character in Pulp Fiction. She's like kind of like she seems so natural. Like she almost doesn't feel like she's acting in those. You know, like it's like, well, this just must be how Uma Thurman is.
Yeah.
This movie, whenever she's like, I am Mother Nature's arm, her fist, you know, and she's like knocking shit over. Like, I don't know. I absolutely love it. It's just so campy, you know, and that feels like that's.
For these roles, George Clooney and Uma Thurman, or were they just given them? And Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Oh, I guarantee you that's interesting. You know, what's always so crazy to me is that like Arnold Schwarzenegger at the beginning is like the first name that pops up in the credits. That's like, well, he was the biggest superstar at this time.
Yeah.
And George Clooney's in this fucking movie, which is kind of crazy. Yeah. Like Arnold Schwarzenegger was that big of a deal where he was like, I mean, I got to be first on the fucking cast list.
Yeah.
And you know, I'd be willing to bet he was just offered the role of Mr. Freeze. And probably George Clooney too. But beyond that, that was probably it.
The crazy thing about that to me is I think Arnold Schwarzenegger puts on a better performance than George Clooney.
1000%.
Like,
that's actually fair. That's sad that it's not that Batman is yet again a side character.
He's really invested in being Dr. Freeze. Like,
yeah.
Oh yeah.
And there are moments where I say, "Oh, that's Dr. Freeze." Like that's not Arnold Schwarzenegger. That's Dr. Freeze. There's never a moment in this movie where I say George Clooney is not George Clooney. That's Batman. Like that's not.
That's fucking George Clooney the entire time.
No, it's hard to see him any other way.
No, yeah. I mean, this is so far my least favorite portrayal of Batman. I mean, like not portrayal. I think the way he's written's not bad. You know, like I think they kind of nail the dichotomy between him and Dick Grayson, the way he feels about Alfred and stuff. Like I think they did a good job with all that, the like family side of things. But he's just not a good Bruce Wayne or Batman. It just felt like somebody was standing in for that whole thing. And
it looked like they cast George Clooney to be George Clooney in a Batman movie.
Yeah,
I mean that's the thing though, is that I wouldn't want a good Batman to be in here. Like that's the thing is that like if you just take out George Clooney and put in like Robert Pattinson, like it doesn't make the movie better. You know, it's like I'd rather want a bad Batman. Like I'd rather want it all bad. You know,
that's a really fair point actually.
So like, honestly, like George Clooney is without a doubt the bottom of the barrel, the worst Batman that I've seen so far. Like without a doubt, there's no doubt in my mind. Like I think that's just, I don't know if it's what they were going for, but it's what they got. At least it's what they gave us. Like that's the thing. I couldn't tell if it was self-aware while watching. I think the actors knew it was shitty, but I don't think I think the people who wrote it and made it think it was going to land. Like I think they thought that this was going to be like a new take on Tim Burton's, you know, like people are going to it's familiar enough but different, and it's the perfect blend of the dark and the funny. I think, you know, they really thought that it was going to be like this massive thing. I don't know. But the actors seem that, I don't know, they seem like Uma Thurman, I don't know. I think she's self-aware in this role a little bit.
She's like, because Uma Thurman's too good of an actress for this to not be intentional. You know, that's my thing. I think they were strictly going for the feeling of 1960s, like the 1960s Batman. Like I watched it on an old ass DVD that was like early 2000s released. Like it's not the best quality. Yeah. It's not HD. It was in a 3x4 format. Ooh. And so it was almost a box on my screen, and it was kind of all frizzy and stuff. And I was like, this is the way to watch this movie. Because like it just really reminded me of like what it was influenced by, because recently, obviously since we covered Batman 66, so I mean not recently now, a couple months back, but I went and watched the series a little bit, the Batman 66 series, and this just feels like an episode, like a long episode of that with a higher production budget. And
Sadly.
frankly, there's some I really, really enjoy about it. It's not good, like, at all, but it's really it's really fun to watch, and I continue to really, really enjoy watching the movie. It's just not the best by any means.
Man, I don't know. That is an interesting point of how you would watch it at the time, because like I watched this movie on a newer monitor at like in HD, like whatever, like upscaled to HD, whatever. But like,
Right.
that's the thing. Like back with these movies, you'd watch it on a TV that was like really shitty compared to today. Like that's the thing, is that like at the time though, you thought, how could it get any better? Like that's the crazy thing, is that whenever I had a tube, a big box TV, VCR built in at the bottom, I'd play Spider-Man. I thought that was the realest looking picture that we could ever get. I'm like, how could it get better?
I distinctly remember my parents being like, guess what? We got HD TV when I was like 9, and we watched it, and I was like, holy fucking shit, you're telling me this was an option? I was like, this is insane. I'm like there, like, and like that changed in our lifetime, which is kind of fucking crazy. Like that's a recent development in our technology. And like, so I think that some of the production value of this, it's crazy since it was $125 million and stuff, but it's almost like, that's one thing though, is that the settings, I never have beef with the settings. I think the way they built out this movie is kind of, world building's epic. Like, I love that shit.
It looks, and it's just so, like, in the same way that the setting is detached from reality, I think the script itself is detached from reality. But even in breath, do you have to have Robin surfboarding down a skyscraper? Like, do we need to do that?
Nah, but you know what? You should.
On this acid trip of a movie, of course.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good way to describe. Oh my god, that would be an insane experience.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's
that.
advised. That's probably not a good idea, actually, now that I think about it. Silver Surfer popping up out of nowhere, like they're like,
when did they become superheroes?
I'm not gonna lie, that was hard as fuck though, because like that's something you're never gonna get out of a superhero movie again, because it's ridiculous. That's what the beauty of this era is that they did things you will never see again, because it is so fucking dumb. Like, there is absolutely no way anyone could get away with this now.
It hit me like in the middle of it, like after they blasted out of the side, that like they were in the air in like a plane or something, and I'm like, wait, how did they get in the air? Or like, when did they go airborne in the first? I thought they were on the ground somewhere. I'm thinking back to like, wait, where were we like 2 minutes ago? And then they're busting out at the sides of the jet. Plane,
and it also works like a fucking snowboard now, not like we're in the middle of the air. Like, he can do like a full fucking flip on it, and the thing won't just fly away.
Oh yeah,
it's like he's strapped to it.
Oh, and then Mr. Freeze, if he just shoots straight down, he still just doesn't splat, on the ice that he created, freezing the furnace. He's still not falling at freaking Mach 1, straight towards Earth. He just, I don't know. I love like all of that.
The gun's holding him up, man. The power. The gun is, it's keeping
fair.
Him up, keeping him
like
standing.
what they made up for this movie is truly insane, but it just, I think that it was very intentional. I think that it's supposed to be ridiculous. And I the whole time I'm watching it, I'm just like, can't believe that they let Joel Schumaker do this. Like, because just in general, as a director, he's so out there, and he's so influenced by like Studio 54 and all that. And like, just thinking about this coming out now, I feel like, even though it's 30 years later, I feel like people would be less receptive to this somehow.
Yeah, no, that's what's insane, is that this is so out there. Like, it was such a, like, after what they did almost 10 years earlier with Batman 89 and Batman Returns, the thing that people wanted from Batman movies was that sort of, the darker, grittier story that they were getting out of those, and like but we saw from those movies the price it pays for Batman's character when they don't know how to write Batman. You know, like and there, for some reason, it feels like they thought the only way they could write a compelling, like, Batman the correct way is if it's so unself-serious. And, like,
it kind of works.
I think it works. I think it works for the most part. Like, I think the goal they had, I think they I have no doubt
they nailed what they were trying to do.
Yes, I think they executed exactly what they tried to do.
Yeah.
I think they knew exactly what they wanted to do. I think they did it exactly, and it's just not good. Like, it's just not a good movie. It's a thoroughly enjoyable movie. You know, this is going to be one of those that's like, whenever we get to the rating section, it's going to be really oddly weighted because I really enjoy it, but it's also just not very good. So it's going to be an interesting one to be sure.
Yeah.
But
man, I'm just like trying to think back at a scene of the movie. I'm having a hard time picking out like just one thing that happened kind of during this movie.
Yeah.
Like, it's all just kind of a blur. Like, from the creation of Poison Ivy and Bane and Mr. Freeze to them freezing Gotham and thawing it out, like, it's kind of, I kind of just...
There's about 37 plots in this movie. Every scene, they're introducing a new complication that really goes nowhere and makes no sense.
Yeah.
Like the drag racing part, like when she's... What?
The drag racing part is outstanding. That's so ridiculous. And like the fact that, I don't know if Joe, you would have been the one to catch this, I think. There's a Clockwork Orange reference during that scene where there's a gang of hoodlums dressed like the Droogs in that movie. Which is absolutely outstanding.
I didn't catch it during my first watch, but I watched like a little Easter egg video of like this movie, and I saw that was in there. That was nice.
Yeah, I was like, oh shit. But no, that part was also the fact that, like, I don't know, just this normal ass white girl is showing up to this gang, like, where there are like people dressed up in fucking Joker makeup and all this stuff, and like she's just like, you know what, I'll run all you bitches. Like, I love that shit. It's so stupid.
What happened to Alfred? You know, he was so good. He is still good. He's probably one of the better parts of the movie still, which is incredible. But like, why is he like horny over Batman? Why was he always at his suit and he was like, like feeling the suit on the chest, you know? Like, was he just like remembering his past because he was dying? Or because like, that's what it seemed to me. He literally was like always, because like every time he was needed, he was always a little late. And I'm like, okay, maybe it's just because he's sick and slow. But every time they would show where he was like always like standing over like a Batman thing. And like feeling it. It was really weird. I don't know.
I think they're really trying for something there to kind of display how like Batman, Bruce Wayne being Batman is taking him away from his family in their moments of need. Like Alfred needs Bruce Wayne really, really bad at this period of time, but he'll never say it. You know, like that is a really, like, that's one of my favorite parts of this movie, if not my absolute favorite part of this movie, is the Alfred storyline with the way that like Barbara at one point tells Dick, like, Alfred's sick, you fucking idiot. Like, how about you tune in a little bit, asshole? And Bruce is like, Alfred's not sick. He's dying.
He's dying.
I know he's not even just sick. I know that he has not long to live, and it's even worse.
And you know what? We're going to keep acting like we don't know a fucking thing about it.
Also, just like the lines of exposition in this movie of people just explaining to you what's happening.
Oh, it's outstanding. Well, and like the fact that he's experiencing McGregor's syndrome on like a lower scale than
the one that was cured.
The part that he's already cured. Yeah, the part that Mr. Freeze is already cured. It's the same thing Nora has. It's beautiful. And
he's got it on him. He's like, I got two right here.
Yeah, whenever I didn't even put it together that was going to happen. Whenever, because like they chose a disease that was so McGregor, you're not going to forget that name in the movie, you know. Whenever they said it, I was just like, well, goddamn. I'm like, what else could it have been? I'm like, at that point in the movie, I'm like, it's been so lazy. No, like every time I'm like, man, what else could they do to just make this movie even easier to write? I swear they could have written this in a Denny's in a breakfast, like over a breakfast. They could have written this entire movie over like the span of 3 hours with the one-liner. I swear it's just one-liners the entire time.
One-liners.
Like
Dr. Freeze does not say anything that is a line of dialogue. He is just saying things.
No, yeah, he's like he never actually talks to someone.
No, there's no question and answer response. It's literally just like, what pun can I make about things being cold?
Yeah, when the dude walks in, he's like, "Hey, boss, I think you should see this." And he just fucking kills him.
Oh, but it's because the off chance he saw him crying over Nora. Or no, he said, "I hate when people talk during the movie." That's why he shot him. Yeah.
Fucking outstanding.
Dead wife, yeah.
I hate when people
That's how
talk
I want to
during
do
the
people when I'm at the movies and they're talking. I'm like, I want to freeze your ass right now.
Dude,
honestly,
murdering people for the sake of the joke.
I guess it's funny. That's really meta. Like actually being in the theater watching that though, that would be kind of funny. Like
that's why I feel like this movie is very self-aware.
Okay,
like,
that's
very
fair.
much like they're doing this on purpose.
The movie starts with a montage of them showing their fucking asses and bat nipples. You know, like that's self-aware. You know, like they're well aware of what they're doing here. They just didn't realize how fucking poorly it'd be received.
How many carrots do you think?
I can't imagine that they didn't, you know? Like, I can't imagine someone making this movie and being like, wow, this is gonna hit. Like,
oh, they're gonna fucking love this one, guys.
It kind of did. I guess it's maybe, and again with like Joel Schumaker, he is just like notorious for doing stuff that people don't like, and then 10 years later, like, that was actually genius. I'm thinking just like, I don't know if you guys have ever seen the Phantom of the Opera movie, but like everyone hates that movie, but also it's the best movie ever.
Right. Right.
I don't know about this one. I think it'll remain. I don't know. Maybe in like 50 years, maybe when it's looked back as like a relic of Batman, people will start to be like, I don't know. I think whenever we get chips in the brain and we can forget little bits of information and experience things as a kid again, like or something, you know, that's what it's gonna take to like.
I'll tell you what really hurts this movie is that it is 6 out of 12. Out of Batman movies.
Cool.
It comes smack dab in the fucking middle of, like, right off the coattails of a few really, really good Batman movies and before a few really, really good Batman movies. And it's just like, if this would have came 10 years earlier before Batman 89, you know, or like even shit, if they would have done this with like Adam West in like the 70s, like that's the thing is that I just think it was a love letter to a different period of the Batman character, and they just it just didn't work in the context of the times.
I think it helps, you know, maybe like epitomize like some transition of the character over the years, and that it's still the mythos of Batman precedes even this film, because even as a kid we're like, oh, this is sick, it's a Batman movie, right? This is Batman. Like, no matter what hoops I need to jump through, I will believe that George Clooney is Batman because this is a Batman movie. Like, there's a legacy there that I think precedes what the presentation of the character even is, and that means something at this point in the arc of the character through film.
No,
and
I dig that.
Too, the idea that like all of us as kids really liked it. Like, it's a kids movie. It's for children, and we loved it as kids, so it did what it was supposed to do.
100%. 100%. That's something I always gotta tell people, specifically when it came to like Thor: Love and Thunder recently. Like that part at the end where all the kids are imbued with the power of Thor and they fight back. I was fucking flabbergasted at the amount of people online I saw that said, this is corny, this is stupid. It's not for you. Imagine being 8 and seeing that. You'd be like, this is fucking awesome. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's sometimes when we're watching these comic book movies, we get a little too critical and in the mind of, oh, all of these should be cinema. No, it was literally never supposed to be that.
Yeah.
No, I mean, like, that's the thing, like, watching superhero movies as a kid, like, the reason that I gravitated towards Spider-Man so much is because he was, like, a kid, or, like, Tobey Maguire was supposed to be a kid. whatever. But like, it's seen more. Like that's the thing. As Spider-Man has progressed, the actor has looked younger and younger for a reason. It's like the character is for the kids, and like a part of the movie like that. Like it's always hard to relate to like Thor. Like being an 8-year-old, it's hard to be like, I want to be just like Thor. I don't have literally like 50-pound arms, I'm not a god. I'm not literally Thor. So like there's no way I could have a mule, there's no way, but like the off chance that Thor gives me some of his power, like that's a thing I've never thought before, like as a kid. I never would have thought like Thor giving me his powers and me fighting side by side with Thor, that's like such a cool perspective, like instead of just putting yourself in the hero shoes.
Yeah, it's powerful for kids to see themselves being powerful.
So, I mean, Robin as a 25-year-old man in this movie just fits so well. That's what you need in this movie. You need Robin.
See, that's what I was about to say, is that now we're getting to the point of the episode where I continue to gripe about the fact that Dick Grayson is 25.
Oh my god. So you guys weren't 12-year-old girls when you were watching this, because I have never forgotten Dick Grayson from this movie.
I see. That's the other perspective. Okay, this is why we need other people on the podcast, because we would have just shit on him the whole time.
No, you don't even know. The scene where he's ripping the lips off and he has like the lip gloss on for some reason the last 15 years of my life, please.
That's totally
I don't know
fair.
what it is.
because as a young boy, I would totally see Poison Ivy like being the only thing I would have focused on the entire movie. And,
it was the only thing I focused on the entire movie.
Oh my god, yeah. But even the other side of the coin.
I focused on this rewatch. I was like, oh my god, I watched it
So not George Clooney whatsoever, though. It was only.
So I think George Clooney. I love him in this movie. I actually don't. He's a fine Batman. I think he's a great Bruce Wayne, and the reason for that is that he's just very paternal. He's very fatherly, and I think I saw that when I was a kid. I was like, oh, he's, this is a Bruce Wayne who is like a father figure. He's someone who's a little bit softer. He's someone who's like, he'd smile and joke a little bit more than the other ones. And so that's why I kind of gravitated toward Dick, because he was the kid. He was the kid version, I guess.
Yeah.
Batman's the dad in this.
Yeah, George Clooney is very much like he's like the most eligible father in the world. Like, who wouldn't?
No, he's rich.
Did Ocean's 11 come out before this?
No.
Wow.
Ocean's
11 was for like 8 or 9.
That's kind of crazy, because like it seems like at the end they kind of did like a team up. It was kind of superhero team up, but it kind of felt like an homage to Ocean's 11 for some, because that's all I know George Clooney as is like just a bank heist guy.
He was made.
But like at the end, whenever they all put their hands together, I guess it's like a cute superhero moment, whatever. But like I actually thought like, oh, what a cute Ocean's 11 little homage, and then I'm like, I got to thinking, I'm like, I don't think that came out before.
Ocean's was 4 years later. It was a little bit later.
What year did this?
2001.
This is 1997, right? Yeah. 97 here. Wow.
I was thinking too with Alicia's Silverstone. I was like, is this before or after Clueless? But it is after.
Right. No, I that's another thing from the adaptation standpoint that's kind of is that Barbara is Alfred's niece.
Yeah, why is she not British? I can't love that there's no explanation.
What was that?
No explanation.
Like,
she was like, I'm not doing that accent. And they're like, okay.
Well, I think they tried to explain it like she goes to school in London but was not raised in London. I think
what did they explain that?
Okay.
But they never.
I don't.
She's the daughter of Alfred's sister. So like,
imagine she was like, no, I grew up in America. Like, I don't even think that they explained it. They were like, no, it's fine.
No, yeah, they never did. They never did, because I'm willing. I don't want to discredit Alicia Silverstone, because frankly, I think she's fine in this movie. I really enjoy her role in this movie. But there's a relative chance that she like did a British accent, and they were like,
oh no, it was definitely. Also, I feel like with Alicia, like her voice is part of her. Like it's part of her appeal. She has a very distinctive voice, and I feel like she was like an it girl at this time. So they were like, it doesn't really matter. She can be. It doesn't matter.
I love how she
wants, and it'll be just fine.
Yeah,
she just did anything. She knows how to control satellites in space.
Amazing.
You know, she was like,
okay,
she's
her
like Batman
hacking
and
into
Robin.
the computer
It's like,
though. Her hacking
Yeah.
into the computer with the word England.
oh man, Peg, dude, what was up with that? What? Okay,
Where
whoa,
you let her
something was
password out
weird.
there?
Okay, something was weird with that. Sure, it's the name and it's cute, but the way the computer went, access granted,
Yeah,
after
it
the
was-
word Peg, I don't know. It was just a little weird to me. I'm like, that was off.
We didn't even call her that.
Little off, but
that
no,
was-
I love.
I mean, like it's super fucked up because Peggy is a nickname for Margaret's. Like that is absolutely a thing.
Yeah.
But you know,
No,
it's
that's
gotten a little funny over the years. The word Peg.
And I love at the very end, they're like, all right, we need a computer, all these satellites need to be aligned and turned on. Who's the best person at the job for this? Batman and Robin, who do all this crazy shit all the time, or Batgirl, who it's her first day on the job and she just knows how to, she's like, scoot over Batman and Robin. Yeah, she's like, scoot over Batman and Robin. I go to school. This is what I do every day. It's like, this is what we do at school.
Here's my thing. I believed she could do it more than I believed Dick Grayson could.
Absolutely.
Whenever Dick Grayson was like,
Fair.
whenever he was like, I'm on it, I was like, no, the fuck you're not.
No, you're
I guess if it was
Sit down.
Batman, like I believe Batman. You know, obviously. I mean,
Yeah,
it's like,
Batman's he's the genius. He got the
whatever.
bat computer and shit. Like,
He was fighting Dr. Freeze at the time, though.
fair
Yeah,
enough. I guess it was
busy.
it was Robin, so that is fair.
There's also a lot of like kind of surface level like girl power moments in this too. Like I think that
Man, they
Kinda
were
not
just so
PC,
surface
huh?
level,
Bat
like
person
just
or Batwoman.
yeah, just like
yeah, that was great.
her line was always just like the inverse of like whatever Dick Grayson would say. Like he'd be like, I don't know, she'd be like, "No, I'm the blank blank blank," or like,
Yeah.
"No, I did that," or like I don't know. It was just like so lazy. It's like, man, can you not come up with anything more creative? You know, just
But
to make,
as a
like,
kid, I did love her. I did love Batgirl. as a
oh
kid.
no, oh that's the thing though, is that like you need it to be that simple as a kid. Like to like that's if you're gonna go this bad in this route, like you need it to be this bad for kids to understand the character.
Mhm.
If you want them to go beyond just seeing the flashiness on the screen.
Yeah.
Right.
One
But-
thing I can't get over in the 90s Batman movies is how much they never give a fuck about people finding the Batcave.
I think Alfred has a
whenever,
thing about
whenever she shows up all costumed up and
Mhm.
Batman's like, that's not awfully PC. What about Bat Person or Batwoman? And she's like, Bruce, it's me, Barbara. I found the Batcave. I'd be like, I know, Barbara, you don't this disguise isn't exactly working for you. I can tell it's you.
Yeah,
I love it. Yeah, they're like, oh, well, yeah, we'll kill her later. You know,
Yeah, and
yeah,
Robin's
we'll
like,
have
we
to
got to
kill her
get
later.
those locks changed. You know,
Yeah.
like they're like, come on, Batman, let's do this. You know,
Honestly,
like,
though, it's been Alfred that's let the last two people in. That's the thing, though. It's like Alfred giving someone a box. Don't open this. Only show it to family. Only. There's only one person. Don't open it, though. You know, he knows full well what she's about to do.
yeah.
He knows his password is literally a foot away from the computer, right there on a picture.
A 3-letter password. Oh my
I
God.
guess I don't know how he knew Dick Grayson would fly down the mansion and do a triple backflip into the Batcave so to find that. I don't know how he predicted that one, but I don't know. That's the thing, though. I'll give Alfred the character for the movie, though. There is one character that actually the storyline is somewhat meaningful, and it's Alfred's. It's like it's part of the movie where I'm like, man, I'm not gonna cry because I don't know, I'm not that invested, but like I might, you know, like
Oh,
this.
yeah.
If
Like,
it was
I
good,
feel
I
like
might
if
cry
this
here.
movie was more well done, I would have gotten there. Yeah,
Yeah.
like I just didn't quite get to that place. You know, because that part at the end where they all do like the little group hug, like I love that shit. You know, like I'm a sucker for that sort of thing. And you know, like it's kind of a testament to how not well done this movie is that I didn't cry at those parts because I'm easy. I am so easy to make cry.
Yeah.
Like I watched the
Yeah.
Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special and cried like 5 times.
Oh,
Like,
dude,
Oh my
I've watched it
40
3
minutes.
times,
It's
and I
four-
haven't.
I've watched it
yeah.
3 times as well. It's 40 minutes and I cried 5 times. Like
Oh my god.
that's
time.
the thing is that like if a movie doesn't make me cry and it has moments where I'm like, you know what, if this was more well done, I probably would have. It does get a little like that's a little disappointing. But nevertheless, I
Well,
don't mind it one
glad
bit.
that you didn't die on this movie.
No, yeah. Can you imagine me like blubbering in my fucking bed? Like, it's just so beautiful. We're gonna need a bigger cave. Like,
Yes.
yeah,
God.
Maybe you were on acid for this.
you gotta go for a walk.
Man, I can't decide my favorite line. I know it's a Mr. Freeze line. He has to get the line of the movie. I just don't know which one it is.
I'm gonna tell you, this is not my favorite line, but it's amongst them. It's Dr. Jason Woodrue, and he's like, "I don't handle rejection well, so you have to die." Ah! He like does that.
Just pushes her over the table. Wow.
Yeah.
What
I was
what
like,
a way.
oh my fucking god.
The origin was so great. Man, that origin story was just so good. And I guess it's like the first actual part of the movie after the first scene, right? I guess it's like kind
After
of the opening
hockey chase for the diamond.
Yeah, after you get the sky surf.
I mean the clack in the heels and the ice blades pop out. Like, what more could you want?
What more could you want?
Let's kick some ice.
Line. It wasn't actually in the movie. My favorite line comes from Claire, not this Claire, my girlfriend Claire, said, who's just like, maybe like 5-10 minutes in, just out of nowhere, doesn't even know what the title of the movie is like, is this a parody?
Like, that's awesome.
It could be. Maybe. This would be the most well-funded parody that has ever been made, but parody indeed.
You know, honestly, there's probably some like YouTube video of a fan-made Batman like short film that is like leagues better than this. Like production-wise, like look and story, like everything. I bet. Like I don't think maybe other than campiness and just making you feel. I don't know. It didn't even really tug at the heartstrings. Is the thing. It's like it didn't even make me really feel good. It was just kind of like.
It just kind of happened.
Instant dopamine. It was like the instant dopamine while I was watching, but then the second it was over, I'm like, oh yeah, okay. That was it. You know, like I don't know. It was just kind of like
that is
very
interesting.
Instant gratification.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, just the whole time it was just instant gratification and nothing more other than Alfred a little bit. You know, I'll think of Alfred when I go to bed tonight. I think I always think of Alfred. He's the constant in the Batman movies. He's always good.
Let me ask you something. Since this was a first watch, for me, and I mean, Claire, I know you said this was the first time you'd watched it in a very long time, but I visit this movie not regularly, I wouldn't say, but I probably watch it once a year. Like, I probably do revisit this movie. Is this a movie you think you'll revisit?
I think it would be kind of like a Halloween-y Christmas around this time of year. I don't know, kind of like a Thanksgiving-ish Christmas movie. Yeah, like if I would. If I want to watch just like if I'm thinking to myself, all right, I want to watch one of my favorite Batman movies. I'm probably not going here. I got to be in a very specific mood. If I'm just in a Batman mood, I don't think I'm in a Batman and Robin mood. But if I'm like around this time of year and I just want like a fun movie, then like I'll go to this. Honestly, though, I'd rather go to like a Guardians holiday special. That's like that special has kind of changed the game for me and like shows and like what I kind of favor to watch. And like I would rather watch something that I don't fully have to invest in, but is still good enough and fun and made me cry. Good enough to make me cry. Like I'd rather watch something like that than rather like this sort of instant gratification fun.
Right. Like I'm high as hell at like 11:30. I might turn on Batman and Robin. Like
it's gotta be a big movie. I gotta be big to watch it probably. Yeah.
I think it's probably fun to watch with a group of people who've never seen it before. Like I'd like to introduce this movie to people and tell them nothing about it.
That would be
like, all right, guys. So you're familiar with Batman, right? Get ready for the greatest Batman movie of all time.
You are not familiar with Batman.
Sit there with a perfectly straight face the whole time, never look at any of them. Whenever Alfred and them hug at the end, start sobbing and just be like, "Wasn't that beautiful, guys? Like, wasn't that just the best movie you've ever seen?" And then like maybe you can convince people it's good by being around them. Like
by power of persuasion. Also, the Halloween costume potential in this movie is like it's pretty iconic.
The costume design.
The costume is unbelievable.
The nipples are weird, and I don't know how that gets past the
And the
department.
like silver, and when do they change into the silver and gray suits at the end?
Yeah, I guess like whenever they showed him suit up, he really had options. That dude had every suit in
But
Batarang
I
and
gotta say,
everything imaginable.
George Clooney's got to look like the puniest, weakest Batman I've ever seen. He just looks like a regular dude inside that suit. Like there's just no.
See what I'm talking about? My
Abdul
point
Classic.
will stand. I can never dress as Batman. No one who is under the height of 6 foot can dress as Batman. It's just a rule. Like, I don't know. The casting for Batman, I guess how tall is George Clooney? He's probably 6 foot.
I don't think he's that tall, actually.
But he looks like a teenager though.
He's
Like
5'11". My theory stands. Oh my fucking god. It
Yeah.
stands. It is a hard rule.
He's probably more accurately about 5'9".
Yeah, I don't think he's even that tall.
Dang. Let's see.
Yeah,
Christian Bale
tends to be a little
6
kind
foot
to people's height.
exactly. Christian Bale 6 foot exactly.
and he barely makes it work.
He's
Like,
just there.
Yeah.
Christian Bale's on the cusp for me.
Robin
He's
Pattinson 6'1". Just
Yeah.
that extra bit above. Holy fuck, dude! I think I stumbled upon
Wow,
something
wait.
huge here.
How tall is Val Kilmer?
Let's find. Oh man,
That's not quite a 6 foot man. There's no
6
way.
foot exactly.
Damn.
Okay. Wow.
Damn.
Adam West. 6'2". He's the tallest one so far. Holy shit! What about Michael Keaton?
That's 6'1".
Michael Keaton is 5'9".
5'9".
Oh, really?
He feels so much taller than George Clooney.
Man, that's a testament to him. He made 5'9" feel like 6 foot. Not gonna lie, good shit, Michael Keaton.
Michael Keaton.
You are the outlier of the theory. Well, if I'm going
when he was casted, people were like, why is he Batman?
Yeah.
Right.
yeah, if I'm going overall Batman, I think my theory still stands.
Yeah, Michael Keaton's not my favorite. I'm not a huge
It's 6
Michael
foot.
Keaton
It's the 6 foot threshold.
What about Ben Affleck?
Oh yeah, Ben Affleck.
Oh, I'm
Check out
so
his-
sorry, Ben.
Man,
I'm so sorry, Ben.
Something about Affleck, and it's just still even as
It's the fact he never got a solo movie. It's the fact that he doesn't have a movie where that is just
6
Batman.
foot 4. Ben Affleck.
No, he's not.
He's 6'4".
He's
Why?
6'4".
Okay, every other person you Google height, it pops up immediately. For some reason, Ben Affleck is just this says 6'2", this says 6'3", 6'4". It's the only one that's not like instant on Google that just shows at the top for some reason.
If he's 6'4", that makes him quite attractive. That makes him quite the hot man.
It looks like 6'2", 6'4", and 6'2". It's either 6'4" or 6'2".
Because I mean, the way he fills out a bat suit might be better than any other Batman's ever filled out a bat suit.
I guess
if I'm being for real.
Physically, it's Ben Affleck. I guess.
this is true.
Damn, we found something. We found something out today. You learn something every day.
You learn something
really.
every day. But let's do some favorites. Let's go through some favorites. Let's go around the circle and declare a favorite character. Let's start with Claire. You got a favorite character from this movie?
Oh my gosh, it's definitely changed. I think now it's got to be Poison Ivy.
Fuck yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Poison Ivy out there because
The casting, it's the way that she plays it, it's the costuming, and it's just that she feels like she fits so well into this. Like I believe her so much more than I believe like George Clooney should be there.
No, I'm 100% with you. She's also my favorite character.
Yeah.
Mostly because like I'm just a Poison Ivy fan in general. Like when we did like me and Joe did a top 100 comic book characters like favorites, and she landed top 15 for me. And the inception of that when I was younger was my obsession with Uma Thurman as Poison Ivy. I loved her when I was younger, and it's remained the case. She's fantastic.
I think she had to have been some part of my sexual awakening because I remember her like half naked in all those scenes, and like she was, but
She
like
basically was.
I'm like,
though.
it's a movie. This
Like-
is all right. This is
Yeah.
Okay,
That's the thing, though. Yeah, as a kid too, I had a thing for redheads and like specifically redheads like this. I would have flipped for this movie. I'm kind of, I don't know. Maybe I'm glad I didn't see this as a kid. I don't know. Maybe
Nah,
it's a
dude,
sign.
you're kind of onto something here though, because we'll get to this movie in a few weeks, but X-Men: The Last Stand, that was the one for me, dog, and it was Jean Grey. It was
I
Jean
don't know
Grey. It was that
what
scene.
is it
It was
about
that
Red
scene with
Red,
Jean
man?
Grey.
As a
It
kid,
was that scene with Jean Grey and Wolverine, where like he wakes up and she's like all over him and stuff. I remember being like, "What is this feeling?" You know, like I remember.
So now you
remember being
understand the Dick Grayson lip gloss thing.
No, 100%. That's why I loved your perspective there, is because I was like, that for me was Jean Grey and X-Men: The Last Stand,
That's
dog.
great.
I
Oh
loved
my
that
God.
shit. Fom K. Johnson holds a very special place in my heart for that. But
on
and
the
Hugh
complete
Jackman. But
opposite side of the coin, I'm taking Alfred as my favorite character here.
That's fair too.
Well, you know what? Not opposite
they
side
need
of
to
the coin. Alfred's
sexualize
got
Alfred.
some sex appeal. You know, yeah, whatever.
Make Alfred sexy again.
Yeah. But nah, he's out of the movie if there is a character I do care about, it's Alfred's he's always wanting to make another superhero. He's always making the suit for him. He took the time already to make the suit for, he's like, yeah, I got something.
I
close to you.
I uploaded my brain algorithms into the bat computer.
Alfred AI, what? That's nuts.
Bro,
yeah.
This man did what Elon Musk couldn't.
It's like that scene in The Winter Soldier, but it makes no sense.
Right? Yeah, it's like Arnim Zola.
There's a lot. I feel like there's a lot in this movie that's like very Captain America-esque, but like they didn't put any thought into the science.
I would fucking love if they made a campy Captain America
Oh my
movie.
God! Well, that was like the Bane scene where they like inject him with the super soldier serum.
Right,
I was like, oh, what?
Yeah, when they specifically regarded it as super soldier serum too, I was like,
Stan Lee, did you know about this?
You seen this? You heard about this?
They're just taking your shit.
No, but I will also say this is one of my favorite. Like, I'm not gonna lie, Tom Hardy as Bane. I like Tom Hardy as Bane. I have issues with it from a just general perspective of him being a white guy. That's kind of why I like. It's kind of why I like this version of Bane. He's obviously not intelligent. He's completely unintelligible. But at least he's got a fucking luchador mask on. I fucking love that. I fucking love that.
The only one.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say it's the only interpretation where he wears that mask. I feel like,
and that's the mask he should wear. Like that's what he's supposed to look like.
I love how he was just brought in as like, here's a prisoner serving double life sentences for murder. I'm gonna strap him on the table and inject him with venom now and super soldiers. Like, it was just instant. Dude was just brought in the room, strapped up, and then made into Bane. Like, it was insane. Like, the movie just didn't care.
Well, and I also love that scene, like his origin ends with him like flexing, going and then like Poison Ivy does her whole thing, and then it randomly cuts back to Bane still going and she's like, coming, Bane, darling, and like that's the first time you've seen him since his previous like they just keep it going, and I love that.
That's just what Bane does, until he's told what to do or to smash something. That's what he does. That's his idle mode.
Randomly, like the lights go out in Mr. Freeze's den, and he's like, "You've merely adopted the dog. I was born in it."
I think after watching this, like, I'm just thinking about the way that Poison Ivy and Bane are portrayed in like The Dark Knight Rises, and God, this is just so much better for some reason. No, it's so much more fun to see Poison Ivy be this, I think.
No, 100%.
I understand that there's no way that she could be in the Christopher Nolan series like this, but you know what? Maybe.
No, it should have been.
I think that they could have done something different with her in that. But anyway, this just reminds me because Uma Thurman is so iconic in this.
God, I love Uma Thurman too. She's just so fucking good. But yeah, so I had to go with Poison Ivy. Joe, you went with Alfred. Tav, are you on the Poison Ivy train, or are you somewhere else?
No, I'm actually going in terms of character. I've got to go Arnold Schwarzenegger as Mr. Freeze.
Fuck yeah!
I think that without Mr. Freeze in this movie, you have at least a 60% less compelling storyline. Like, he, even in the banality of his one-liners throughout the movie, hey, keeps me going.
100%. 100%.
You see, I'm right there with you. That's why I'm giving him the performance of the movie.
Yeah.
Because that's like, the one-liners, just seeing like I kind of like the performance. I group like costume in there as well. Like just seeing him, like the whatever paint they did, I feel like they legit just airbrushed him like with paint, and like what a thing to go into set and just have to like get painted every time.
Yeah.
Which would kind of suck, but like it was just so awesome seeing him on screen and hearing him and everything.
There was only one thing I would have changed about his appearance, and it's that scene at the beginning where they're like airlifted into the air and he throws on the goggles for the first time. Wish he would have worn those the whole fucking time.
Yeah.
Oh my god. The freaking diamond. You just dump some diamonds in there and close it up and now my suit works. You know, it's just like
I like that they kept referring to the diamonds as ice too. They're like, he's trying to get iced out, you know, like that's kind of cool. That's his goal.
That's nice. But I absolutely love that he just has a handful of diamonds, just puts them in a little hole in his suit and then closes it up, and that's how his suit functions, you know. It's like, oh man, like just so good. Not super like cool. Not to crush them down or to condense them in a crystal to just fucking throw them in there and it'll work, you know. Like I just that's why this movie is just so awesome. Like
there's no attempt at science in this movie.
They didn't care, yeah.
Despite the number of scientists that are in this movie.
Yeah. No shit.
I guess himself a literal scientist.
Dr. Freeze, Dr. Isley, Dr. Woodrue. Dr. Woodrue's always a fucking asshole though. Like that's something cool about the Poison Ivy like origin that they kind of did. It's a little like it's not the version of her origin that I typically enjoy. I do love it for this movie, but Jason Woodrue is always this sexualizing asshole who is like, whenever she rejects him and he's like, well, that's too bad. Now you'll have to die. Like that's exactly what he's like in basically every adaptation. So like, I just absolutely loved that. But my favorite performance, I think I'm probably right there with you. I think Arnold Schwarzenegger as Mr. Freeze is what keeps me in it, keeps me going for most of the time.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, Uma Thurman as Poison Ivy, I think like that's what's giving me a rough time right now. It's one of those two, you know, like and since I did go with Poison Ivy as my character, that's what's making me lean Arnold Schwarzenegger as Mr. Freeze for the performance. But he was just a really fun part of this movie, you know. I think that he's goofy as fuck. I just know he's having fucking fun, you know, like he's not worried about shit.
It's like they gave him a check with all these obligations assigned to it that were absolutely ridiculous, and like he somehow managed to achieve them. Like man worked for like I just really don't think it'd be the same movie without him.
No, not one bit. Oh man, it's worldwide it made a little bit of money, but the domestic gross did not go their way.
Eesh.
I'm not surprised.
Cost 125 mil, grossed 107.
Oh, I wonder. I bet the largest chunk of that is just paying the actors.
How does that feel? Come up like how many million short is that? Like that's a lot of money to be like, sorry guys.
Almost 20 mil. Almost 20 mil.
Yeah, jeez.
In the hole.
And that's 1997 money.
Yeah.
That's like. I guess
the worldwide gross was a little bit friendlier, but domestic was not.
And the next one is Batman Begins, right? Like that was the next one.
Yeah, that is the next Batman movie, and it's not for nearly 10 years. It's 8 years later.
Jeez.
They were like, we're done with this now.
Yeah, I don't think Christopher Nolan was referencing Batman and Robin to write Batman Begins or work on that movie.
Nah. Definitely not.
Maybe a what not to do. You know, maybe hey, we got a shining example of something that was tried. They thought was going to go over well, just quite didn't land, you know.
It just didn't land, but only from a critical perspective. Because, you know, like, it's tough because I feel like, well, I don't know. Because I do enjoy, like, while I enjoy Mr. Freeze as a character in the movie for bringing me into it, for somehow managing to achieve bringing me into the movie. And also appreciate Michael Gough as Alfred Pennyworth. probably give him a performance nod because he brings me out of it. He's like one of the only, like, as always, Alfred is just consistent, and I'm like, okay, well, this is a bit of respite from the ridiculousn's of the rest of this film. Alfred, we need to protect Alfred at all costs. So, I think Michael Gough once again does a phenomenal job as Alfred, and the consistency here that he embodies, I think, in itself deserves the performance nod.
That's fair. He's playing the long game. He is Alfred. It takes until 2005 to switch that up. That's
yeah.
crazy.
This was Michael Gough's last run at it, though.
And for good reason. There's no reason for him to believe after this they're going to improve on the character.
No, yeah, he was like, you know what? We achieved the pinnacle of Alfred storytelling up to this point. Up to this point, there had not really been an Alfred-centric story. I love that we actually got that. I loved that they were like that part where he's like where Bruce tells him like, I love you, old man, and he's like, and I love you too. Like, I fucking love that. I'm a sucker for that shit. But
and even the part where they're like, you pay someone to prepare all your meals and clean up your house, and like you call that family, or whatever. And it was kind of like, I don't know, it's a thing I never really thought about is like, yeah, Alfred is kind of like Bruce's dad, and like he takes care of him, but like, man, he really does a lot of work, like just work, like around that, like they are well off enough to where he doesn't have to be like the butler anymore. I guess, I don't know. There's probably other butlers around Wayne Manor. I don't know, but I feel like they probably keep it empty because they don't want anyone to know.
Yeah, no, it's just Alfred. But it's just Alfred.
And that's
but I think
that kind of sucks for him, man. He's got.
Well, he brings up his points. He's like, like taking care of superheroes, like. Not all heroes wear masks. Like, he's like, you're the hero to them. The way that like he like at the end, whenever he does, he's like, son, like he regards Bruce as his son. Like, I fucking love that shit. That's absolutely outstanding.
Yeah, this whole movie too has a lot to do with like found family because everyone's parents are dead, and it's kind of like throughout, like you see with not just Bruce and Alfred, but also Bruce and Dick, and then Barbara comes in, and it's really like this. The dynamics of it are a little bit strange because I'm always like, are Dick and Barbara into each other? Are they like siblings? I don't really know. But it's very much like the found family seems to be really important to this movie.
No, 100%. 100%.
Yeah, I think
what about you?
Partner. Oh, my bad.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, that talking about it, like, I think that if I were to pick any scene out of the movie, that would actually be just the one I would pick. Like, it's the one that is kind of like all encompassing. You got all the characters there that you care about. You got the Alfred's all good. He just walks out of his room. He walks into the room. Everyone's like, Alfred? Like, oh my God, you're okay. And
he's like, somebody call an ambulance. Not for me.
Not for me. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. That was the one thing I was kind of hung up on, was picking a scene. But if there's actually one good part of the movie, like that actually gets me a little bit. Yeah, it would be. Right there
I get you. But Claire, how about you for performance? We kind of breezed past that. What about you?
I mean, I think that objectively the two best performances are Poison Ivy and Dr. Freeze. But I do kind of want to shout out again George Clooney's Bruce Wayne. Like, his Batman, again, is whatever, but I really like this version of Bruce Wayne, and I think that this is a version that we haven't ever seen and probably will never see again. And I don't think it's particularly because George Clooney is doing anything interesting with the character, but I do like his more paternal, more fatherly, softer version. So I think it's so different than the rest of the movie, which is so in your face and so campy. That's kind of nice to have him as almost the straight man in this movie.
No, yeah, he plays it really subtly too. Like there are those parts where he just kind of like smiles to himself when like Dick's like saying some goofy ass shit, and he's just kind of like, man.
Yeah, and I feel like you don't usually see Bruce like smiling at anything.
No.
I mean, particularly after like Robert Pattinson's Bruce, like I don't think he smiles once in the whole movie. And which is fine because that's a different kind of version of the character, but it's just kind of nice to see at least that there is this version that exists.
Yeah, whenever Dick was talking about, he's like, I haven't been thinking clearly ever in my life, but as of right now, this is the one time in my life where I am thinking clearly. And yeah, George Clooney just looks at him like, dude, what the fuck, man? Like, really? Like, right now you're thinking clearly over just being horn dogged over Poison Ivy? This is like,
oh my
you
God,
thinking
Dick is
clearly?
fucking ridiculous
You know?
in this
Yeah.
movie, man.
Oh,
You're just mad that she wants to kiss me and not you.
Yeah, man, I'm thinking so clearly. I want a robin signal in the sky instead of a bat signal, and she loves me and not you. And I'm gonna fall in love with her, and
I love
want
that.
to kiss her and not
That was
you.
one thing I loved about Bruce in this movie too, was that he was like cognitively aware that something was happening, but he still felt those feelings. Like he was like, yeah, I'm definitely in love with Poison Ivy, but that doesn't make sense. Why the fuck am I in love with Poison Ivy? You know, like
He was like, damn, I really am horny for no goddamn reason.
Yeah.
What just happened? And he's like, my detective brain is going off now.
Yeah.
Now I'm not horny.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
I'm a detective now.
To achieve this thinness of character building, you have to assert how douche, like somewhat douchiness of Bruce Wayne.
With a girlfriend. Oh my God.
Oh my God! I
Poor
completely
girlfriend.
forgot that fucking storyline.
Can you
Elle
help me out
McPherson.
here? Yeah, like can you help me out here? He's like, we're madly in love, but we're just happy how we are, or happy
He's
how
like,
it
ooh,
is. And it's like,
marriage.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
man, I don't know.
Was that like actually in the Michael Keaton movie, like line by line? But
Pretty
just
much.
this was done just in a more campy way. Like, I think that's like, I don't know. I feel like it was line by line. Like they literally asked Michael Keaton, when are you gonna tie the knot? And he's like, "Ooh, marriage." And then he like says, "Yeah, you want to help me out here?" Like actually, like it was like more of like a serious, like portrayal of it. But like I think it was line by line almost.
I don't recall.
I'm pretty
but,
sure.
no, yeah,
Because when I was
it's a
watching
similar
it, I'm like,
vibe. It's a similar vibe at the very least because like I just love the idea that Batman fights like super villains. And then he's like quaking in his boots at the mention of marriage. Like he's like, "Oh God, something I can't. I don't. What?
The moment where they're unveiling the new technology, and Bruce Wayne is like, "Just don't point it at my bedroom." With the spies. Yeah, the telescope.
Just don't point it at my bedroom. Bruce, you're so funny. You have sex.
God.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It was interesting though, like it is. I'm one for the Mother Nature. I'm one to save the Earth. I'm all for that. It was kind of nice having that little injection there in the movie. Like, here's my plan completely to convert over to be good people and good humans. And so what if a couple million people die because we don't have heat? She was like, I don't care. It's good enough for Mother Nature. And I'm like, okay, maybe it's a little too far there.
No, yeah, that's the thing. That's what's interesting about Poison Ivy too, and they maintain her character relatively. Like that was something I didn't really remember as how well they. I remembered her being more overtly sexualized instead of her weaponizing her sexuality to take advantage of men. Like I remembered her being like of her own accord, everyone just being like, whoa, you're an attractive lady. Like I didn't remember that she was just like she was manipulating everybody, and I really, really dug that. But and like that's very, very typical of Poison Ivy to be like, fuck the humans. What the fuck? Like, no, I don't give a fuck about all that. This is but the Earth is dying. Like we need to worry about that. And 97, pretty
it's
pretty
coming
early
up.
on.
Y2K, man. Everyone was scared as fuck. They didn't know what was going to happen. The year was going to go, a 9 was going to change to a 0. The computers were all going to freak out and kill everybody.
Nobody knew what the fuck was going to happen after that. Fucking Al Gore was like having a fucking orgasm watching Poison Ivy in this movie. Like, oh yeah.
Man. Wow, I guess
we got some favorite scenes to continue to hand out, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
I think I've only given mine just as the ending, unless anyone else has said theirs for sure.
Claire, what about you? You got a favorite scene in this movie?
I think it's got to be the scene where Poison Ivy comes in and meets Batman and Robin for the first time, and it's like that ridiculous gorilla suit,
My
like
God,
striptease thing. I'm like, I just truly don't think that I've ever seen something like this, and it's so ingrained in my memory.
I have a question about that.
Yeah, I do.
Why?
And,
Why
no,
on
I
earth
have
is
to
she
say that
in a
show,
gorilla
though.
costume?
Isn't it like it's so crazy because she's in this like gorilla suit, like it's kind of hot. Like I don't,
Dude, I don't know
right?
how she did it. I was like, this is
No idea.
ridiculous. I like what's
And she's like
what is
walking
this
on
feeling?
the men too. I'm like, oh my, this is so ridiculous. But it's very like it's very Studio 54, and it's very like camp, and it's very much something that I have no idea how it passed in a children's movie, but it's something that I've like never forgotten.
Whoever was announcing the thing was kind of in on it. They were like, and now witness whatever. They were like, and now for the next act. Like they
And they
kind
were
of
like
introduced
auctioning off women too. Like what was going on?
Yeah,
Oh
what
yeah,
was that?
fucking weird.
What the fuck was that? And Poison Ivy was okay with it. She's like, for me,
That's
they're
one
doing this
thing
for me.
I don't fuck with about Poison Ivy in this movie is that she's a typically modernly she's become a little bit more like, if you're gonna fuck over women, I ain't gonna be here for that though. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
Like
I loved the part where Bruce and Dick were like 1 million, 2 million, 3 million. You don't have that kind of money. I'll borrow it from you.
Batman credit card when he takes
my bat card. Never leave the bat cave without it.
Did you see Batman expiration date forever?
No, really?
Oh, no.
Yep, Batman
God.
Forever.
Oh no, dude! But like
so ridiculous.
I
Great
don't know.
scene.
Wow, yeah,
That is a great scene. That is a great scene. It's also where Mr. Freeze and her meet for the first time later on in the scene, and that's a really strong one for me.
What was that auction for, though?
Like, the environment
fundraiser.
So the girl was just representing the part of
the girl was this is the real thing that happened.
That's what I'm saying. Is like what did they get there?
I think you get a night out on the town with the lady. It's an archaic and disgusting tradition.
Yeah, whenever they started throwing out bids, and then I'm like, they said like a flower name, and then it cut to a girl, and I was like, oh, wait a minute. I was like, what's going on here? I'm like, I thought this was a telescope unveiling. And I guess it was a fundraiser, but like I didn't think it would be in this fashion. I'm like, Bruce, this is taking a wild turn. This is like you're doing this in the very public eye, and like this is what is going on. And then, but yeah, I guess it was for the rainforest still though, or something, right? Like it was for the conservation. Okay, but wow, well, yeah, very interesting choice there.
But that is a good choice for the scene. I think I'm gonna go with Poison Ivy's like unveiling of herself at the like her not her origin where she gets pushed in, but when she reemerges and she like comes out and Dr. Woodrew's like, whoa, you look good.
Yeah.
She's like
they call it a resurrection.
They replaced my skin with chlorophyll and my blood with aloe.
And she just knew this.
No,
she knew this coming out of the grave too. Instantly, she's like, "Oh, my skin must be aloe, or I must be made out of chlorophyll now." That's the only explanation for this.
It's seriously iconic because it makes so much sense as a kid. Like as a kid, you're like, "Oh, yeah, that's what happened." Yeah, that makes sense.
She goes into the ground. She becomes plant lady. Okay,
all the poison, all the plant, all the snakes, and the dirt.
Yeah, what
makes Mother Nature from? Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. I guess you needed some life in there,
Yeah, right. No, but that is my favorite scene. I fucking love that scene. Whenever she, and then after she kills Woodrew, she like, I am nature's arm. Hell, I am Mother Nature.
That she had to
keeps
kiss
doing
all
that
those
shit. I fucking
old
love
men,
it.
Though. She had to kiss all those old people though, and like everyone that she had to kill, she had to kiss. Which was really weird. And then, like, she had to do the really weird way of, like, keeping her eyes open because she's, like, killing someone, So it's, like, it's seductive, but also, like, haha, I'm killing you at the same time. Which, like, I don't know. It's just really weird. Like, just a weird thing to make Uma Thurman do, Like, I just feel bad for her, honestly, at that point, having to do that. But
I think she fucking owned it, though.
I think she owned it. Oh, yeah, totally. No, she's like her and Mr. Freeze are the best part of the movie.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
Which is funny in a movie called Batman and Robin.
Yep.
It's
That
Robin
is
is
so
so an
sad.
afterthought in this movie.
Wow. That is so sad.
What
I guess
about
Tavarus.
you, Tav? You got a favorite scene?
Yeah, I mean, I just gotta go Poison Ivy's origin scene. It's utterly iconic. It matches up with, like I don't know that there is a better telling of Poison Ivy's origin, even in animation. Like even in, I don't know. Like this is the one that I think of the most, knowing it to be the most ridiculous of them. It stands as
That's
the most memorable.
very fair. I mean, she sees Bane be created out of this little scrawny prisoner and just a creature created out of her research. And then
Yeah.
she gets pushed over a table, buried, and then comes out as Poison Ivy. Dude, as a kid, I'd be like, what the fuck? I'd be like, that's like plant lady that's also hot and redhead, too, coming out redhead. Dude, I would have taken that and ran. I know. Like, I
We're
know.
taking that and ran.
But, yeah.
But what's that leave us with? A favorite line?
Yep. Line and shots would be it. I guess I already declared my triple ass shot. If I can declare all triple, the whole thing, that'd be nice. I have to do one, I'll do Batman just to keep it consistent.
Yeah.
But
Batman,
I'd like to claim the triple.
Batman's the one that gets the pull up his pants too on the scene, on the shot, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
Like,
George Clooney's ass in a Batman suit is the most bodacious thing in that Batman.
Oh, 100%. 100%. Like, how'd you get all that ass in
No!
that bat suit?
God.
I don't know. It's what an insane. I couldn't believe we got it in Val Kilmer's movie. That we got it. Like I saw it on screen. I couldn't believe it. I had to rewind to make sure. This movie, I just knew. Without a doubt, I'm like, yep, that was George Clooney's ass. Yep, that was Chris O'Donnell's ass. Yep, that was Alicia Silverstone's. There was no doubt about it. I'm like, yeah, that just fits right in this movie. There's no doubt. Like, no doubt in my mind.
Tonally, this just makes sense.
Yeah.
But man, if I had to choose a favorite shot, that's where things are getting a little harder for me. I think
the ass
There was one where they all three came up and did a pose.
Yeah.
They all showed up and made a pose, which was pretty cool. I don't know. Poison Ivy had a lot of cool ones.
it's probably something with Poison Ivy.
Her coming out of the gorilla suit and
I don't know if you
standing
can
up.
see this, but on IMDb, all three ass shots are right in a row.
Oh my
God.
No.
It's the one. It's probably one of the only things I'll take away from this movie. Honestly, it's what I will remember Batman and Robin for is the triple ass shot.
Yeah.
That's it. That's probably the main thing I'll take away.
Testament right there.
Yeah.
You know what? For favorite shot, I'm actually gonna go with the shot of Mr. Freeze icing out the doorway.
And then
wiping it off and being like, "Hi."
Okay. That was I love how just some parts of his ice could be see through and then other parts was just completely
rock fucking solid.
Yeah, it didn't matter. Did not matter whatsoever. But yeah, you have 11 minutes. It wasn't 11 minutes to thaw out. Yeah, what an interesting. I guess whatever. It's 11 minutes to save him. Throw him in the fucking pool, laser that bitch up, get it up to temperature, cook him up, and there he goes. Pull him out of the water.
And the water's boiling, but when he comes out, he's just fine.
Again, science is not a thing.
Yeah, don't worry about the logic of it.
Which is funny because so many of the new ones go to such extremes to try and explain the science behind whatever, and it's it's really fine. We don't.
It really doesn't matter. There's I'm not one to defend Joss Whedon's 2017 Justice League at all because it's fucking bad. But there's a part that is no doubt physically impossible that gets shit on for being physically impossible. It's that part where Superman lifts the whole building from like the middle of it from underneath, and he's holding up an entire building.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, physically the sides of that building would collapse. Here's the other fucking thing though. There's a man with super strength and the ability to fly carrying it.
Yeah.
You want to talk to me about physically impossible? How about the fucking guy who's flying? You know, like that's
The god from Krypton.
What the fuck are we doing here, guys? Let's stop nitpicking about the sciences, because it's just more fun to let it be.
The more you explain it too, the more you have to think about it. It's like if we just don't explain it, we don't have to think about it. We don't have to really worry about it.
Not one bit. Not one bit. I'm cool with that explanation.
Absolutely.
Like even the paper, the newspaper that he froze. Like no way.
It's not what it all.
That you can still read it, but I'm like, fuck yeah, that's sick. Like that's sick that he could just freeze a newspaper. That's how he would read it, you know.
Yep,
you can't turn the pages; you can only see the front cover. But he read the headline, which was like Bruce Wayne auctioning blah 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 diamonds at blah blah blah, and all he got was Bruce Wayne diamonds. Nice is literally the line he said. He takes Bruce Wayne diamond. Nice, and then it just cuts. That's it. And maybe that's my line. I don't know. I was trying to decide on the Mr. Freeze line, and right now it might be Adam and Evil, just for the delivery that he had of it. It was just like so hysterical and just so like, oh my god, what a one-liner there. But man, maybe Bruce Wayne diamonds. No. Because it's taken out of context, you don't get it. It's just the delivery for the Bruce Wayne diamonds, honestly. So I'm gonna stick to Adam and Evil for my line.
What killed the dinosaurs? The Ice Age.
It was something about like your doom. Something about like your doom.
Yeah. Allow me to break the ice. My name is Freeze. Learn it well, for it is the chilling sound of your doom.
It's great. Really.
Man, he really got paid probably a couple million.
One of my favorite lines
is
the opening. I want a car. Chicks dig the car.
It's good.
Man. And if it's a 13-year-old, that makes sense, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually kind of a more cute line. And it actually, I don't know.
It's like, I don't know, man. Go buy a fucking car then.
Yeah, dude. Literally, you can rent.
Go take out a fucking loan. You're a grown man.
You can rent a car. You've reached the last milestone. The next milestone you have is retirement age. That's the next milestone you got. You can rent a car. There's no age, nothing else left for you. You know, like you're a man. Go take out a mortgage. I don't know. You stop freeloading at Wayne Manor. You know, Jesus. But yeah, as a 13-year-old kid, I feel for him. I don't know.
I want a car. Chicks need a car.
No, I gotta still like him though. He gives the he's the hot part of the movie.
And like I don't want to dismiss him because he is a good Dick Grayson, but he's a good Dick Grayson as Nightwing. Like he's okay to be the old version of Dick Grayson. Like I think his physique fits it perfectly, his demeanor, his playfulness. He kind of captures that character really, really well. It's just the fact that, and he's in the Nightwing costume the entire movie. Like they just didn't call it Batman and Nightwing for obvious reasons. They're Batman and Robin. Like that's classic. But like I think that if they would have, I don't know, introduced him as a young guy in Batman Forever, and then it's like he grew up, and this is what happens in Batman and Robin, then I might have a little bit different of perspective. But he just showed up as a 25-year-old dude in Batman Forever, and it's just kind of how it's gone since then.
Yeah.
But because he is a good Dick Grayson, and I don't mind Chris O'Donnell's performance at all. In fact, I think he's consistent. He's very believable in the role that he's playing, and he's corny, but that's the entire fucking movie.
Yeah, that's why they went back to him.
Exactly. I think it's just a good. I think he's a good cast. It's just I think he's just more accurately Nightwing, not Robin. But and that will affect the adaptation rating. But beyond that, not much. What about so me and Claire still got shot and line, and I've got line, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
That's right.
All right, then Claire, how about we hear out your shot first?
All right, my favorite shot. There's a couple. Because I think this movie is just so visually interesting. Like there's a shot during that drag race scene where like something explodes and it just sparkles. Like I think that was really cool. There's a really cool shot with Alicia Silverstone watching. She's hacking into the computer or whatever, and then like the Batman logo is like on her face as it lights up in the computer. That's a cool shot.
Okay. Yeah.
And I think I also have to go back to just the Poison Ivy Robin kiss. Like that's I just remember that so vividly from being a kid.
Okay. Well, if you had to pick one,
we haven't even touched on the fact. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah.
No, I would say if I have to pick one, I think it's the Alicia Silverstone with the Batman logo lit up.
I love that. I love that. It's such a good choice. That's a and it's not one I anticipated coming out of this, so I'm very satisfied with that. But I think I'm actually going to change mine too. I'm going Batman and Robin going full Silver Surfer when they're flying away from the explosion, and it's like very obviously not. It's very obviously computer generated imagery. But there's something charming about it. I really, really enjoy it. I think it looks fucking. It looks awesome. Like that's just something you just wouldn't. You'd never watch Batman do some Silver Surfer ass shit like this in a modern movie. You know,
it's insane that
it
I
looks
can
like
put
a comic
that
book
in the
camera,
box.
that shot actually.
It does. It 100% does. That's it's one of my favorites in the movie.
Like I just typed Batman and Robin surfing through the sky.
I have the timestamp of it. I think it's 12:08 into the movie. Let's see if I can find it.
Yeah, that's. I didn't think I would ever say that out loud. You know. I watched Batman and Robin surf through the sky and on the top of Gotham. I love how Gotham is a vertical city too. Like it's super vertical. I love how they kind of kept that through. Actually, like I'm for real about that. Like I'm not actually ironically. Like I think
the
it's super
design
cool.
Aesthetic of this one, like the city, the Batmobile. I'd argue that like the only thing Batman Forever has up on this movie, as far as the general aesthetic of it, is the bat suit.
Yeah.
Beyond that, I think that like the villain costume design in Batman Forever is also really good. They don't really miss on that side of things. The 90s movies nailed villain designs. Joker, Penguin, Catwoman, all throughout. It's been so fucking good. But compared to Batman Forever, the other Joel Schumaker Batman movie, this Gotham is better by like a lot. The Batmobile is a lot better. Even though
the flappy fishtail,
it doesn't have the flappy fishtail thing. Yeah, that was goofy. I think that this is visually a more I don't know what the correct word is. It's more inventive. It's more out there. They went for something a little bit bigger. You know, I think that Batman Forever, it's funny because that movie's really out there, but comparatively, he played it safe.
It was Tim
in this
Burton.
movie, he was like, "Fuck yeah, now I'll do whatever I want."
Yeah, this movie has a very distinct look, I think.
Yeah,
it's still Tim Burton a little bit. Like you still see a little bit of Tim Burton there, a little bit, but it's very. I guess if you were to say to Christopher Nolan to make something in Tim Burton style, you know, like try to have as a realistic Tim Burton looking as possible is kind of like what they tried to go for. Which I don't know. I kind of liked. I like how Gotham is super. I don't know. It's not just New York City. You know, like I'm not just looking at Chicago or Detroit or like a literal city in the U.S. Like it's Gotham. You know, I don't have any bearing on where anything is or what anything is. It's Gotham.
A little Superman mention.
Square Garden or whatever it was.
Oh yeah. We also got a little Superman mention. In this movie.
Yeah, didn't we? Did they say Metropolis or did they?
They said Superman. They straight up said Superman. Yeah, at the beginning, whenever Robin's like, "Chicks dig the car," he goes, "This is why Superman works alone."
Oh, okay, that is right.
Which I fucking loved. But man, line wise, this one's hard. There's so many great one-liners.
I know. Had to give it to Mr. Freeze though for me. That was without a doubt, in my mind. But that's kind of what I'll give it to. Like, it's Adam and Evil what I'm putting down, but honestly, it's just kind of like his one-liners are just, in general, is what I'm kind of nodding for the award.
I dig it. What about you, Claire? You got a favorite line?
I did write down Dr. Freeze's first line, "The Iceman cometh." For some reason, I laughed hysterically at that. Maybe just because it's his first appearance, and I forgot how ridiculous he is. But like that, I loved. There's this part when Dr. Freeze is freezing people, and again, when I talked about how people are just saying exposition this whole movie, one of the guys he's freezing goes, "My lungs are freezing," and I was like, "Thank you for explaining what's going on."
Oh yes!
Oh yes!
Oh my god! Man, that's the perfect.
It's like, thank you. I didn't get that. Thank you.
How much exposition was just in voice lines? That is crazy. How much, like, almost like half the movie was just exposition.
Yeah, like when Barbara's like, "And when my parents died 5 years ago in a car accident," I'm like, very.
Oh damn! Okay, shit. Yeah,
well, and I also love that her parents died in an automobile accident, and then she's like, "You know what I'll do? I'm gonna street race."
Yeah, street race.
And I like a bike too. I want to be
even
out there.
Less safe.
I want to be out in the open on 2 wheels, not 4. I don't know. I don't know what she did over there in England, but goddamn, that school, they are fucking damn. Yeah, they're teaching how to do everything over there. Unless she's just a really good learner. She could just be a very fast learner. I don't know. Maybe it's in her blood. I guess she's got a little bit of Alfred.
She's a Pennyworth.
Yeah,
in some
Alfred's
capacity.
badass. Like Alfred, that's what we don't realize. He's way past his prime. Like way past his prime.
And speaking of Alfred, this is where I'm going to branch my favorite line. One of the more serious of the movie. But for what is Batman, if not an effort to master the chaos that sweeps our world, an attempt to control death itself? I love that. It gets to the heart of what, like, in a Batman movie that is so fucking crazy. It really, like, they got to the heart of what Batman tries to do very succinctly, and like with Alfred's storyline specifically. Beyond that, I don't think they do much. But I mean, like, those themes that, like, trying to control death. Everybody in this movie is doing it. Mr. Freeze is trying to prevent the death of his wife. Poison Ivy's trying to prevent the death of the planet. Like, they're all in some way trying to master and control death in some capacity. And I think that line
captures themes in this movie.
What's that?
There's themes, some actual, like, through lines in this movie?
There is a bit of a through line.
There really are.
Hey, man, okay.
Because with Alfred too, like,
got a 0.1 bump, you know, like 0.1. I don't know. I'm liking it a little more. I'm coming around on it, maybe.
Just attempts to control death at all turns in this movie.
Yeah. Maybe this is a genius. Maybe this is actually a masterpiece, and they knew exactly what they were doing.
We are 25 years later. I think now is the time we can
are as old as Dick Grayson is in this movie. Actually, not even quite. Still, which is insane. We are not even as old as Dick Grayson is.
No.
So that's just sad. But did you settle on a line? I didn't know if you wanted to go with my lungs are freezing or the.
We'll go with the Iceman cometh. Okay. I really did laugh out loud at that.
That is
his delivery is so good. It's just his delivery. What? Yeah, like where his lines come out of nowhere.
Yeah, like let's reference what is that, Eugene O'Neill? Like what?
Like they're all so fucking forced every single time. It's so funny.
Like I really do feel like Arnold Schwarzenegger is in it. Like he's selling it. He's invested. He's gonna say that line.
Another great Mr. Freeze line. Mercy, I'm afraid my condition has left me cold to your pleas of mercy.
Oh, that's a
You know,
great
like
one.
whenever they can affect it, like that's like an actually dope line from Mr. Freeze in any context. Like it's not like, oh, that's a super corny pun. It's still a pun, but it's like, oh, this man's fucking hard. Like this guy's a G. He came with the drip too. That fucking robe he rocks
Dude.
in his place, the little slippers.
Yep. Oh yeah. No,
Yeah, he's so sparkly too.
They got the design of him
sparkles.
down. No, it was sick.
So sparkles. He was like Edward Cullen in Twilight.
And I need to
Oh
know
my
how
God,
they
it was
did
like
that.
a premonition.
Batman and Robin. I need to know how they painted his face.
Yeah, because you got to be careful with that, because that
Like-
could be toxic.
How
Yeah,
is
right.
Freeze created? Yeah, because sometimes, no, I guess it was the same throughout. I don't know. Sometimes it felt like he had more sparkles or like more sparkle freckles. I don't know what to call them. But like it felt
Ice
like
crystals.
yeah. Just I guess paint. That's it. It's just
I also love that his origin was just him basically tripping and falling backwards.
Yep, at his job. No, let's not put a safety rail there where if you fall in the cryogenic chamber of whatever liquid. Let's railing there. No, not a good idea. But it gave birth to a cool villain.
It did.
So I'm
it
okay
did
with
indeed.
it.
But what say we move on to the rating portion of this podcast? Are we ready for that?
There. Oh yeah.
I believe we are as well. But Claire, the way we do this on this project is we allow the guest to kind of cultivate their own rating alongside our rating, mostly because this is your first time joining us in this project. Meanwhile, we have covered the other 11 movies. We have a little bit more to compare and contrast the scores with. And yours is a little bit more of a pure, unfettered vision of the film, if that makes sense. So are you comfortable with that?
Sounds great.
All right, awesome. We will start with the first of our four sections, and we begin with enjoyment. The scale of 1 to 10, how much this movie is resonating with you. How are you digging it, Claire, on a scale of 1 to 10?
I will give it, I think I'm going to give it a solid, 7.5. It's like a C+, I would say. I enjoyed it. I thought I would not enjoy it at all, because I've seen parts of it since I was 12 and just turned it off. But I was going to watch it in 2 parts and break it up, but I enjoyed it the whole way through. I just watched the whole thing. So, yeah, I would say 7.5. It's a C+.
All right, I dig that. A 7.5 is good. It's close to where I'm at.
Yeah.
I don't know that I'm quite there. I was more at about a 7 is where I was feeling gut feeling wise. What about you, Joe? How are you feeling?
Yeah, because I'm not middle of the road. I'm enjoying this more because it is so bad and campy, I am enjoying it, and I don't want to look away because I want to know how they're going to solve the next problem. I want to know how they're going to come up with it, and I know it's just going to be the laziest or just the most out there solution. So no, I'm having fun. So it's definitely not like a 5 or even a 6. So I don't know. I was around like a 7.
All right, cool.
Probably around there.
I think me and you are in agreement there with our overall rating being a 7, Claire's being a 7.5. That is cool. Our next one will be genre. This is just how well they fulfilled the genre, and since they're all superhero movies, we like to give it a little bit of a subcategory. So I think this one can kind of be I don't know, action, adventure, a little bit of fantasy in there. Like
action sci-fi.
Sci-fi for sure.
Yeah.
I guess comedy. Would you? I don't know.
Yeah,
this is.
It's got to
I
be.
can't believe it's not credited as a comedy on IMDb. Actually.
Yeah. So, just how well it's fulfilling those sorts of aspects, Claire. How are you feeling about it?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like this movie had a lot it wanted to do, because it did have. I think that as a comic book movie too, thinking about the shots, thinking about the way that they visualized a lot of things, I think that it was very reminiscent of comic books. I think that my understanding of a superhero movie has changed as I've watched like the modern adaptations of Batman and the way that the MCU is going. Like I think that when this movie came out, what a superhero movie was very different than what it is now. And so I think I want to give this a pretty high rating for genre. I want to give it like a 9. I think it's it's both genre defining because it's the campy superhero, but I think it's also kind of genre defying. I think it's its own thing, and I think that it stands as something that is really interesting and unique, but I think it's a really good super, like when you think of a superhero, I think you think of like the tight tights and the like ridiculous the pow wham bam fight scenes, and I think that it does fulfill that. And if you don't think about it in the way that we think about superhero movies now.
I dig that. No, 100%. I think I'm 100% with you. The way that the specifically the emphasis on camp, like this is as far as camp is concerned.
Like this is such a good example of camp.
Mm-hmm. It's defining camp. You know, like this is as campy as comic book movies have ever gotten.
I think whenever you say that it's George Clooney's kind of just putting on his Adam West impression, I think that's kind of what they're doing with the movie. They're like, how can we take Michael Keaton's Batman and inject as much Adam West into it as possible? Just mix the two worlds and like have the real world look of, you know, the Keaton Batman and this one, and just put a bunch of just surface level fun. Just it was a bunch of skits. That's what it was. You know, that's what the movie was. It was just a bunch of skits over and over. So yeah, I don't know. I think it is just like a Batman 66, but in a more real, in a serious tone compared to 66, if you want to say that, but not serious whatsoever, like on the scale of Batman, that's for sure. I don't know. I think it does, like, they were aware of that, and they knew what they were doing. That's what they wrote script around. I don't know. I think like it did, like Batman 66, we gave like a 6 out of 10, and like that's far too low. Like I think they did better. They knew what they were doing here.
They had a very clear vision for this movie, and I think that probably despite a lot of what fans wanted, they fulfilled their vision, which I think is cool.
100%. Yeah. So I kind of struggle with this one. I think I'm around an 8. I could see myself going as low as like a 7.5.
I think 7.5 is more fair, because that's above Superman 2 for genre. Superman was a 7 for genre.
Superman 2.
Superman 2 was a 7. Which I maybe, I don't know, can you comfortably say that it did a better job than Superman 2?
I can confidently say that I think it knew what it was more than Superman 2 did. Superman 2 was like I think it loses a lot of focus in the back half of the movie, whereas this it cinched down on its style, knew exactly what it was doing, and just steered further and further into that. Whereas, you know, like this movie gets outlandish as fuck in the last act, but so does Superman 2. And tonally with Superman 2, it didn't work as well, I don't think. Important mention as well that we did not cover the Donner cut. We've mentioned that every time Superman 2's come up, so
true.
We'll continue to mention it. But
I think 7.5 would be fair. I think it did know what it was doing more than Superman 2. Batman 89, we gave an 8. And I think it is kind of just like right in the middle there. I think I would take Batman 89 was that. Even though Keaton is not like my favorite portrayal, Batman 89 was, I feel,
they nailed the action adventure stuff there for sure. It was very well done. But
I think 7.5.
Claire, are you comfortable doing an adaptation rating, or are you willing to just skip that and go straight to critical whenever we come to it?
So this is like adaptation from the comic books?
Yeah, comic books that came prior to it typically.
Yeah, I don't know a ton about it, but I'd love to hear what you have to say. So I don't think I can really say anything.
I appreciate you there. Then we'll hold off on that one, and we'll give you yours. Yours will be like a 3-section rating instead of a 4. I didn't do any comic book influences on this one, mostly because I couldn't find a lot. You know, it was mostly just 60s Batman is kind of what this is inspired by, and it's if you read 1960s Batman, that's what's bleeding through on screen here, and it does do that rather effectively. But there are things that are a bit different. You know, this is more, the Freeze stuff is more adapted from Batman the Animated Series, which I think is fair game at this point. You know, like I think if that's the origin of his story, then like that's perfectly cool. But Mr. Freeze, his first appearance in comics was him trying to steal diamonds. He wanted to get his hands on some ice. You know, it's relatively comic accurate with a lot of liberties taken. It's I do think it's a good adaptation of Batman and his relationship with his family. I think that's one of the better aspects of this movie. All in all, it does a rather good job at adaptation, but not so much that
I don't know.
like it's certainly not on the level Batman Forever was for adaptation.
Yeah, that's the thing, is that I don't think they did a bad job, but I don't come out of this movie feeling like, that was just so Batman. Like I'm like that,
Right.
like felt so in the Batman like universe here. I don't know. Like this was just kind of like, I never saw Batman. I saw George Clooney the whole time. You know, I'm like, so even whenever like they're doing the right character tropes and they're doing the right stuff, it's like it's not really landing. So like I think that counts like towards the hit. Like I think even though that they're trying to like that it's not working, I think is fair to
Gotcha.
go against it.
Would you kind of go straight up middle of the road with it, like at
maybe
about a 5?
Yeah, because then like Dick Grayson too. You know, just call him Nightwing if they're gonna go that old. You know, like it's that easy. Like you could just be like, have the traumatic event that happened with his family, like have that happen as a 13-year-old kid, and then he lives in an orphanage funded by Bruce Wayne, and it sucks. And then Bruce finds out that it sucks. He takes him in as Nightwing. You know, when he's old.
Right.
Like I don't know, fucking. Like, do something. You fucking have the stupidest explanations for everything else in this movie. Like, you explain so many things by just be like, yep, that's just the way it is. You know, like, you have a girl walk into a scene. Oh, a character introduction. Alfred's freaking niece, right? Or niece. And then instantly, yeah, my parents died in a car accident, and but it's like instantly, and it's like
your dad is Jim Gordon.
Like Jesus Christ. But
no, yeah, like
yeah,
it's
I think 5 is kind of where I was thinking. Cool. It's just kind of it does justice, but it didn't execute.
I get you. Yeah, it had the bones. Just couldn't get there. And that brings us to our critical rating of the movie, and this is probably for me where it will take its worst hit yet. But Claire, how are you feeling about this movie critically, all things considered? Acting, filmmaking, writing, direction, all sorts of.
I think critically, the thing that I have the most problem with is the script.
Yeah.
I think that it's a great cast of actors. They do what they can with what they have. I think they have a very clear vision. I think, like I said, the aesthetics of this movie are like kind of gorgeous at times. They're the colors, the neon, the way that it portrays on the screen,
the way it's lit the whole time.
It is. Yeah, I don't know. That is one thing that they actually did kind of well. Like the visuals of it.
The colors are amazing. The different sets that they have. It's all like the vision is there. It feels cohesive, and yet it feels very intentional too. As much as it feels insane. Right. But like the script is just really not good. There's only so much that you can do with the script that is all one-liners and a plot that doesn't make any sense.
The plot's paper thin, man. Like
It's like,
if
yeah,
they just
really, what
beefed
even
it
are
up
they
just a
trying to
little
do?
bit, it could be like again, this is a movie that has the bones to be a good movie. Like
Yeah.
they have all the pieces. You got a movie with George Clooney and
Yeah.
Uma Thurman.
Yeah.
That should be a pretty fucking good movie. Like just those two alone. And then you got Arnold, who's just an action superstar at this time. Like, and I think Arnold's never been like wow, what a fucking actor that guy is. But you're not supposed to, like, I don't think that's what he was there for, you know?
Yeah, no.
Yeah, like he was always there to be like, wow, look at big strong man do awesome thing, you know? Like that's kind of it's kind of what Arnold's always been.
He
So
nails
I like, he nails it. He nails it every time. But yeah, man, like it's a tough one. It's a tough one to rate.
Yeah, because it's like you said, it has everything there, and there's so many things that I do appreciate about this movie, and it's funny to me because I'm like, but at the end of the day, I'm not like this is a good movie. So what is it that makes it like this is really not good? And
I am confident it's below a 5. It is below
100%.
average.
below.
That's
It's
without
below.
a doubt. It is. So,
Which
and
is
I don't know.
crazy.
I don't know if it's closer to 5. It's closer to 5 than it is closer to 0. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
It
yeah.
It is closer to middle of the road than it is closer to an actual dog pile of shit. But like, I struggle to give it a 4 anything. Like that's the thing.
I can't.
Like I'm trying to say 4 flat, and I'm still like, oof. I don't know. Like,
but it's not like it wasn't enjoyable to watch though. But it's different than the critical rate. It's just it's so funny how like there are even the sum of all its parts can add up to something different, right?
Yeah.
So I think I think critically this is probably a 4.
Howard the Duck.
4?
Yeah, 4 is fair. 4 is fair. On our list, Superman 3 and Howard the Duck were given a 3.5. And critically, if I had to say what movie's better, I'm taking Howard the Duck over Batman and Robin. And then it goes to Batman 66 and Supergirl at a 3. Is it as bad as Supergirl?
No, it is not.
No.
We found the pocket.
It is 3.25.
It is a 3.25.
So I think
I'm 100% with you. Because here's the thing. What I look for critically, yes, this movie is good looking and it has a great cast. But goddamn, that the story's so important. And if the story is just basically non-existent, it's gonna go roughly. And I think Howard the Duck and Superman 3 had a more clear-cut plot than this movie did, which is kind of insane.
Oh wow, that just for how horny this movie was, it shakes the average out to a 5.69. So just perfect.
Wow.
It couldn't have worked out any better. So we gave it around a 5.7 overall. IMDb gives it a 3.7.
Okay.
And Rotten Tomatoes is not as nice. The audience score is 16%.
What?
16.
Wow.
Yeah. And then the critical is 12. 12. So
Claire's rating was a 68, so the nicest.
Oh, almost
wow.
a 6.9.
Wow.
We could have made it there.
Very close. Very close.
But man, I don't know, that actually puts it above Superman 4, Batman 66, Superman 3, and Supergirl overall, which I think makes sense. Like the enjoyment and genre like that, it does help.
I love I would watch these movies before Superman 3 or Superman 4. I would watch it again before Batman 66. Like it's just ultimately that I would definitely watch it before Supergirl. That's still Bella the Ball worst movie we've watched so far.
Wait, it's a 5. Oh my lord, that's cool. It's not even an okay, yeah. I was confident. I guess critically, it's a meh, and that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. But overall, is it a that's cool? It's in the same category as Batman 66, Superman 2, Howard the Duck. Okay, actually,
Yeah, it is.
overall,
That's where it belongs.
Yeah, overall,
It is
okay.
cool. I feel
It
like
is
if you
cool.
don't enjoy this movie, you're kind of boring.
Yeah, you know what?
like
Yeah, you got to be
it's at the very
just an
least
asshole.
super entertaining.
Yeah.
You got to be an asshole to be like, this movie just sucks. I hate watching this movie.
You just got to be
terrible.
boring,
It's
man.
Uma Thurman is Poison Ivy. Like, at least we have that. Like, that is so cool.
100%. 100. It's our only live action Poison Ivy portrayal right now. Like, that's
Yeah. Oh, wow.
there's something to be said. And our only live action Mr. Freeze. You know, there's
Yeah,
something to be said for that. I mean, Mr. Freeze did show up in the Batman 66 series, but it was definitely not the version of Mr. Freeze we see now.
True.
But there's a lot to like about the movie. There's just not a lot to think is good.
Yeah. Enjoyment versus the objective.
Enjoyment versus critical. It's always what this podcast comes down to. We got to separate our two minds. The left brain and right brain need to be separated before they can come together. But
yeah, because if we were to like rate Star Wars non-critically, it would just be like 10s all the time.
It'd be like it's the
Just
best thing
boring.
I've ever seen.
All right, let's
I
get to
fucking
the
love all
rating
of them.
section,
Yeah,
guys.
100%.
It is a 10. Yeah, it's a 10, just like last week and the week before and the week before. It's a 10 out of 10, guys. But
It's
every
so
single time, I
interesting,
fucking love
like,
every bit of it.
What makes something enjoyable that doesn't actually make it good?
Yeah. Not 100% foolproof there, and something can be really, really, really fucking good and unenjoyable.
Absolutely, and I think that's almost like you'd almost rather make something that people just love and don't really understand why than hate and don't really understand why.
No, 100%.
Oh, what's that? An example of a movie that is just, I think, is really, really, really good, but was possibly one of the most boring movies I've ever seen and just sat through was The Revenant with Leonardo DiCaprio, where he like fights a bear or something like that, I think. I've watched that movie 3 times and I have fallen asleep every single time. And I hate falling asleep during a movie. Like, it actually annoys me if I fall. Like, I feel like I'm not respecting the movie. If so like, I try to stay awake. I have not been able to do it for that movie one time. So I don't know. Maybe that's just I can't do it.
And
I think it's good. It won awards, I think.
That was his Oscar win.
Yeah, that's what got him his Oscar.
So, like, what the fuck? I think that's why I tried to watch it so many times. It's like, I need to know why Leo won his Oscar, and, like, I just can't, I don't know. Maybe
a testament to the actor here. Mine was also a Leo movie, and it was Inception.
Inception, that's an even better example.
Wow, okay.
Okay, I don't know.
I don't like that movie at all. I understand how people can think it's good. But I will never watch that movie again. It's just a guarantee. Like
Pulp Fiction maybe too.
Yeah.
Now that I'm
that's a good one too.
It's just one that shocked me, one that I didn't understand why it was liked so much.
I feel that way. Like, I felt that way about a lot of the Star Wars sequels too. Like, The Last Jedi I appreciate for a lot of reasons, and yet there's something that doesn't draw me in about it. And I hate that, and I wish it wasn't that way, but I can understand it's great, and I just don't feel it.
I don't know. That is crazy. We're never going to get another movie like this, really, I don't think.
No.
Like, with a big enough character like this, we're never going to get that again. Like, it's going to take... it'd be like a cartoon, if anything. It's going to be something animated if it's like this now.
Well, what's crazy is, you want to know what I think the closest we've gotten to in recent memory? I brought it up very early on in this podcast. Is Thor: Love and Thunder? Like, that's as campy as I think we're ever going to get again with
which is not even really that campy. It's really not.
No, yeah, but that's as campy. I feel like
you're
that's
absolutely
as campy
right,
as
though.
get.
That's as much as we're gonna get.
Wow.
Like, this movie is bold. If you can say nothing else about it, it's bold.
They took, I don't know. Yeah,
they took risks.
They stuck to it. Yeah, they were like, this is our style, and we don't care. We're sticking true.
Well, and I mean, it worked for them. This is our longest pod of the project so far on Batman and Robin. So, it got us talking. It got us talking at the very least. So, But with that, it came to a 57% on the old Penny Bloom rating scale, and it came to a 68% for old Clare DeGennaro. Thank you so much for helping us here on this episode.
Oh, it was so fun.
Oh, it was so fun. I can't wait. Hopefully to have you back if you're.
Oh my gosh,
wanting to
whatever.
do
I
something.
love talking about any of this stuff.
Did you want to take a look forward and to the
Yes,
the
we'll
next
do that.
movies?
We'll do that. We'll
yeah.
do that off mic here. But
Oh,
let's
that's
do
right.
the
That's right.
let's do the sign off here.
Mm-hmm.
With that, if you would, head to patreon.com/PennyBloomPod, where you'll find over 50 hours of exclusive content, including a bunch of comic book reviews, comic book pull lists, book reviews, and all sorts of stuff. If you're looking for us on social media, if Twitter still exists come this time, which I am now of the mind it probably will, follow at PennyBloomPod, follow on Instagram at PennyBloomPodcast, follow on Hive Social at PennyBloomPod, and on Tumblr at PennyBloomPod, kind of broadening the horizon social media wise, just so we can reach a few more people. I'm hoping that those platforms are growing a bit, so that's cool. If you would, leave a 5-star rate and review wherever you're listening. Share us with a friend. It always goes a long way for us as far as climbing up charts and stuff. That'd be nice. If you're into what me and Joe got going on, Tavarus unfortunately had to dip a little bit ago, but what we're all about, we're doing Winter is Blooming, the Game of Thrones rewatch podcast right now. We got Rebellion's Bloom, our Star Wars show on anything new coming out that's Star Wars, and if I'm not mistaken, The Mandalorian should be going on right about now. So go ahead and check out our episodes talking about that, Rebellion's Bloom. If there's any new MCU shows or anything, we're covering that on the Comics Bloomiverse. Very excited for you guys to listen to that stuff over there. It's we got a lot going on. Got a lot going on here on the pod, and next week, for this project, we're continuing our journey through comic book film with 1999's Blade. And we'll be joined by a friend of mine from high school, me and Tavarus' friend from high school specifically, a lad named Johnny Blocker. Very excited for that. It'll be a good one. So, second Marvel movie on our entire list after Howard the Duck.
Wow, Howard the Duck and Blade. What a way to start.
What a way to start the Marvel stuff. Yeah, I mean, we're so deep into this project already, and it's been nothing but DC. There's been no Marvel, which is kind of crazy considering Marvel is basically the entire landscape for superhero movies now, and basically the entire landscape for movies in general as far as what's getting released in theaters. But yeah, with that, I was Colton Robertson. I was joined by Joseph George. Thank you very much, homie.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure to be here.
Oh, and it is always a pleasure to have you. And thank you again, Clare DeGennaro, for joining us here today.
Thank you so much for having me. It was so nice to meet you guys and to talk about it.
I know. I was so excited to meet you. It's been we've gone back and forth on Twitter a couple times.
I'm always liking your tweets. We're liking each other's tweets, but here we are.
Yes, here we are. But look forward to having you back. And here off mic, we'll go ahead and take a look for you to go ahead and stake your claim for any future ones in this project you'd like to take part in. But
that would be awesome.
Yeah. Thank you again. And with that, we conclude. Remember, peace, love, and bloom. And let's kick some ice.